Hello, friends. Welcome to the Empty Nest Quest. Okay, so it looks a little different today. It is just me, Melynda. Um, as I'm sure is true for many of you, because we hear from you and hear you tell us things like this when you text us or email us, or we see you in the grocery store or at school or wherever we're out and about, that this year has had a bumpy start for some of us, and that is true for Jennifer and for me. And so, the beautiful thing about us having chosen to partner for this podcast is so that weeks like this, when we can't both get together or we can't both show up, that one of us can take the lead and come here to speak for both of us. So, I'm really grateful that Jennifer was able to do that last week when we couldn't get together. And then this week, some of the things that we spend a ton of time talking about, and I'm sure it comes through in the podcast, is that we're just in a season of offering ourselves and others a ton of grace, a ton of mercy, um, just really understanding that we all have things that we're going through and that we need to kind of honor where each other are. So, with that said, how is your heart today? Maybe just put your hand, even if you're driving down the road, don't close your eyes, but just put your hand somewhere on your body. It can be on your heart, it can be on your throat, it could be on your forehead, it can be like on your belly. If you're not driving, you can just pause and put a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly or your sternum, and just take a breath. Just to acknowledge, sometimes it's really nice just how we put our hand on someone we love, just to say, I'm here. Just put your hands somewhere on your body and remind yourself, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. And sometimes it can be helpful to say, like, whew, I'm Melynda. It is February. I am at home in my studio that I love on a Saturday morning. You know, you can do that. Just that is like one of those grounding, it brings you back to your body out of the anxious thoughts of your mind. So, today, I just wanted to talk to y'all briefly about, especially when things are feeling a little tumultuous, about coming back to center. And if you really look at, like, well, you can look at any faith tradition, but like, let's say if you look at the Bible and you look at Jesus and he goes to the mountaintop and he comes back to his quiet stillness, solitude, just that settling, the silence, and he comes back to himself. He's centering, right? He's so centered, he can't feel the waves that are about to toss the boat over when everyone else is panicking. If you look at other practices throughout the world that maybe they don't call it prayer, but like they come back to a place, they sit, they're still, they center. And if you look at medicine talks about like the importance of our spine. If you look at practices, a lot of like exercise and fitness modules and not modules, but what am I trying to say? Different types of movement. Y'all, my brain, perimenopause. Here we are. Whoo, Perry just took my brain. But anyway, you have all these different styles and these different philosophies of exercise and fitness, but all of them honor this midline, this central channel down the middle of us, whether it's talking about our nervous system, whether it's talking about our spine, like the bones of our spine, whether it's talking about the muscles that support us coming back to center. So there's a lot of this like language around balance and centering and core. And that is all because it is so essential for us to have this steadiness down our midline. And I say steadiness because the word, what is it with us where we take a word and we just dirty it all up. So this word balance, like now we're scared to say the word balance because we've made balance equal perfection. Like you stick it, like you get a 10 out of 10 on your floor routine. Okay. No, it's just about balance is usually wobbly, right? Like try to balance on one foot you won't be a statue. You'll have a little wobble. And so balance is just about being present enough. Centering is about being present enough that you can feel yourself come back to yourself and notice where you're wobbly and support yourself so that that wobbly place doesn't tip you over. And if it does tip you over, because it will from time to time, you can come back to standing, come back to center, come back home to yourself because you know where your center is. Yeah. So for some of you, you're like, yes, I know what you're saying. And some of you are like, girl, I just need something practical. That is so woo woo out there. So, what are some ways to come back to center? Well, I just want you to think for a minute about things that really mean a lot to you, that help you feel like that exhale in your body, that sense of here I am, and you kind of feel like the light can come in. For some people that, a lot of us, what I hear us say is like, oh, we just need to get outside a little bit. We need some sunshine. We need, just to cuddle with our pet, hug someone we love, make sure we get exercise, meditate, get up in the morning and read something that fills our cup spiritually and reminds us of like that not only are we designed to be devoted, but that there is a God that is devoted to us. Like just whatever it is that you can see that are kind of those, oh yeah, this brings me back to center. This brings me back to center. And then, so think about that this week as you go through your week. Just pay attention, move around in the world and being like, what moved me back to me today? What kept me present with me? What helped me not lose myself when I saw something triggering in the news? What helped me not lose myself when that person in my life said the thing that really upset me? How do I stay with myself instead of abandoning myself and like shooting off down all the rabbit holes that the external world will pull us into? It is so important now more than ever, with all the distraction and all the ways that we are pulled in a million different directions, that we are able to come back to ourselves. It's kind of like when you're playing chase as a kid and you're running all over the yard, and every so often do you remember you'd get so winded, you're like, oh, I just got to go back and sit on base for a minute so I can catch my breath, and then I'm going to go catch those suckers. So we need to come back to home base. We need to come back to ourselves. So, and that is not like a self-centered, me first in a selfish way. Y'all, we are designed, we are here in this life, in this body. This body is your home base. This creation that you get to live inside of, that is your body, is your home base. Now, do some of us need to do some remedy, repair work with our relationship with our home base? Yes, we do. And if that is you, yes, please, like choose that, because the one thing we have for sure that we will have this whole life is this body. So if we could just value the opportunity to come back to ourselves and then refuel, fill our cups, really take care of this vessel, then we can give graciously, we can show up with energy, we can be creative in solving things that we see as the problems, like maybe at work or maybe in the way that we show up as servants for those who need us, when we're volunteering, when we're just seeing like a need and we want to be able to fill it. We won't be so tired that we'd be like, oh, I'd love to take dinner to that family, but I'm just too tired. Like if we keep coming back to ourselves and refilling our cups, then we will have that energy to give. So graciousness and mercy towards yourself, the same way you give it to others. And so I just want to propose, before we go, I just want to say to you that yes, there are some of those things like the basics that we think feel nice to do for ourselves. Like, oh, I love when I can get up in the morning, go for a walk, exercise. Like those are sort of like those essential, like, of course, But I really want us as women, and we're going to talk about this again because I feel like I'm going to say this to you, and some of you are just going to groan and be like, girl, who does this? But I'm telling you, when you look around you and you see those women that you really love and admire, and you're like, how's she doing that? Or you might think about yourself. I don't know how in that one season I was able to just be so joyful in my mothering. I was so joyful in my work. I was so joyful in the way I took care of that loved one. How did I do that? Maybe you were doing something that also took care of yourself just out of delight. So, what is it that you're doing in your life that is just for the fun of it? What are you doing just because it brings joy? Now, it doesn't serve any other purpose. And I would encourage you to just start jotting those things down. Like if it's like, oh, I know that like one of my friends, she makes herself a French press coffee every morning instead of doing the coffee pot or a Keurig or something that feels more instant. She loves the ritual of doing a French press, and she loves the taste of it. And she and her husband have like a whole ritual for how they do their French press coffee in the morning. And she's like, I just love when I have the leisure to do that. It just feels like such a gift. Okay. Little things like that. That serves no purpose for her except to get her coffee, right? So it's just a little delight. So for you, maybe it's gardening, maybe it's that you just love to like ride your bike with your child. It could be, that you dance with, like nobody's watching. It could be anything. But I just encourage you to start thinking of little things during your day that you can do just for the delight of it, to put those things back in your day. Like one thing I do is I just have like cups of markers, cups of pens all over my house, journals everywhere. Because I just like to be able to, from time to time, pick one up, draw, jot down my thoughts. I love color on the page. So I love to write in like bright blue or pink or green. It's so little, but it can just do so much to transform my day. One example is last week I went to the coffee shop, and I love a coffee shop where they will give me coffee, serve me coffee in an actual mug instead of I hate drinking coffee out of a paper cup with a plastic top. Like when I say, like Jennifer and I did a pet peeve episode a long time ago, this could have been one of mine. I cannot stand coffee out of a plastic cup or a paper cup with those plastic tops. Cannot stand it. Like watch me at the drive-thru when I get my cup, pour it into the mug I already have in my car. If you know, you know. Who else? Raise your hand if you have a mug fetish. So anyway, I went to this coffee shop that served me my coffee in a mug and sat down, and I took my pens and my journal and read. I'm reading this really beautiful book called No Mud, No Lotus by Thich Nhat Hanh. And I probably just said his name. I probably just killed that. Sorry. But it is so beautiful. It's just about how we address our suffering. Another book along the very similar lines. If you are a Catherine Wolfe fan, Catherine has a book called Treasures in the Dark. I'm reading it at the same time, and it is totally similar. And she has so many examples of her life story and how just paying attention and leaning in and listening and letting her suffering be a teacher, then she finds this like route to happiness, which is exactly what he's talking about in his book. So I just sat in the coffee shop with these books and journaled and leisurely read. And it literally like impacted the whole rest of my week, y'all. So what are some little things you can do just for the joy of it? And it will bring you back to center, and you will find yourself then having more intention, more grounding, more awareness. You'll find yourself not deliberating so much over what to do. You'll kind of be able to be still enough to know your next step. So there's such richness in this practice. So send your questions, send your comments. If you're like, Melynda, yeah, but girl, no, I this is a problem for me. I want to hear from you. So does Jennifer, because this is just something we talk about over and over again. Y'all heard Jennifer on one of our last episodes. She and Mike are into some candle making right now. And I just love that. It's just for the fun of it. It's just because they had their favorite candle vessel that they wanted to refill, and it just kept spiraling, and they're having the best time, just like with this new little hobby. So what is it that you do just for the joy of it, just for the love of it? And let me know what it feels like when you touch back in, feel yourself land back at center, even if it's just for a moment, and take a breath and reach out to us. So have a great week. We can't wait to see you again soon. We have some really awesome guests coming up. We have Anna MacArthur that wrote, she's just written her first book, which is so exciting. She is just one of my dear, dear friends, and it's called Hope for Moms. I cannot wait for her to come. Anna is so real. She will not Pollyanna and tell you all the ways that you should just love being a mom. She will tell you the real deal about motherhood with so much humor. And anyway, she's just the best. She's just the best. We'll share more when she comes, but I can't wait for you to be introduced to Hope for Moms when it comes out. And I think it will apply to any of us at any age and stage. We also have a guest coming that is an Enneagram coach to talk about the Enneagram. So if you have Enneagram questions, if you're already an Enneagram enthusiast and you have questions that you've been wondering about since you've learned maybe of your type or your loved one's type, send us those. If you are brand new to the Enneagram and you're like, what the heck? I've heard weird things. Ask all those questions too, y'all. This is a safe community. Fire away. And then after a few more episodes, we get into April, and we can't wait because we have our menopause, perimenopause series coming with some really amazing voices that are going to answer your questions that I know you all have, because over and over and over, I find myself sitting across from women, and Jennifer too, that are really struggling with this season. Me too, us too. So, I cannot wait. These women have meant so much to me figuring out the steps in this season. And I know that they will be just like a blessing and a gift to you too. So until next time, have the best week you can. And listen, if you're if you're having a tough time having the best week you can, just look for some light in the moment. Come back to center, even if you have to do it laying in your bed, curled around your coffee for an extra hour. We love you. We are so encouraged by you, and we hope that you're encouraged by the Empty Nest Quest. Bye.